Imagine this. You're walking down a dark street at night. The only sound is your footsteps. But then something moves in the corner of your eye. A dark figure is following you. You stop, it stops. You run, it runs. No matter how fast you move, it stays right behind you. Now, here's the terrifying part. You turn around to face this shadow, and it's you. What if I told you that the greatest force holding you back isn't the world, isn't other people, but the unseen part of yourself you've been running from all along? This is Carl Jung's shadow work, one of the most powerful and misunderstood concepts in psychology. By the end of this video, you'll not only understand your shadow, but you'll discover how embracing it holds the secret to your greatest strength, your deepest purpose, and your true freedom. And trust me, the final insight we uncover today might just change everything. Let's dive in. Carl Jung, one of the most influential thinkers in psychology, believed that inside each of us lives a shadow self, the hidden part of our personality that we suppress, deny, or disown. It's the part of you that you don't want others to see, the part of you that you judge, the part of you that makes you feel ashamed. Think about it. Have you ever had an intense emotional reaction to someone? Maybe you despised their arrogance, their laziness, their selfishness. But what if I told you the reason they trigger you is because they reflect a part of you that you've rejected? Jung himself once said, "Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves." But why does this happen? When we suppress traits within ourselves, whether it's anger, ambition, vulnerability, or even joy, they don't disappear. They sink into the shadow where they remain unconscious. However, these traits don't simply stay silent. They seek expression, and if we refuse to acknowledge them within ourselves, we unconsciously project them onto others. This is why the shadow is most visible in our judgments of others. Let's say you find someone unbearably arrogant. You think, how dare they be so full of themselves? But is it possible that deep down you have suppressed your own confidence? Maybe at some point you were taught that self-assurance was wrong, so you buried it. Now, when you see someone embodying that confidence freely, it awakens your unresolved emotions, making you react strongly. The same applies to resentment. Have you ever envied someone's success or happiness? It's not that their success is the problem. It's that a part of you longs for the same freedom, but you've convinced yourself you don't deserve it. That's the shadow at work. It follows you. It shapes your reactions, it influences your choices, and yet, you pretend it's not there. Even the aspects of yourself that you once admired but later abandoned end up in the shadow. As children, we dream of becoming artists, musicians, leaders, explorers. But as we grow up, the world tells us these dreams are impractical. Bit by bit, we push these aspirations into the shadow, until one day, we barely recognize them as our own. Have you ever met someone who embodies a passion you once had? Maybe a friend who pursued their art while you took a practical career path? That burning jealousy inside you? That's your shadow whispering, "I still exist. I haven't gone anywhere. Pay attention to me." So where does the shadow come from? Let's go back to the beginning. As children, we are born whole, laughing, crying, playing, expressing every part of ourselves without shame. We don't judge our emotions. We simply experience them. A child will scream with joy when they are happy, cry loudly when they are sad, and throw a tantrum when they are angry. There is no guilt or suppression until society steps in. But then, it happens. We are told, "Don't be too loud." Perhaps you were an energetic, excitable child, but you were shushed and told to be quiet. Over time, you learned that expressing enthusiasm was too much, so you started holding back your excitement. Don't cry. Maybe you cried easily, but instead of comfort, you were met with "stop being so sensitive" or "big boys, girls don't cry." You internalized the message that sadness or vulnerability was weakness, so you learned to suppress your emotions. Don't get angry. If you ever showed frustration or rage, you might have been punished or ignored. Slowly, you began suppressing your anger, convincing yourself that it was wrong to feel it. But instead of disappearing, this anger buried itself in your shadow. Be good. What does being good really mean? In many cases, it means being obedient, fitting in, and avoiding conflict. The more you followed these rules, the more you earned love and acceptance. So you pushed anything unacceptable into the shadow. And so, piece by piece, we start hiding parts of ourselves just to be accepted. The traits that are praised, kindness, politeness, obedience, modesty, become our persona, the mask we wear to fit into society. We shape our identity around what is socially acceptable while banishing everything else into the unconscious. But the unwanted parts, the anger, the ambition, the passion, the desires, they don't disappear, they sink into the shadow. Consider this. Have you ever felt yourself holding back in a conversation, afraid to speak your mind? That's your shadow at work. You've been conditioned to believe that certain aspects of yourself are too much or unacceptable. Or perhaps, as a child, you were creative and loved drawing, but were told that art isn't a real career. So you buried your artistic side in your shadow, choosing a safer path instead. Years later, you might find yourself feeling unfulfilled without knowing why. The truth? A part of you, the artist, the dreamer, has been trapped in the shadow all along. But here's the truth. Your shadow isn't bad. It isn't evil. It is simply unseen. And the more you push it away, the more power it has over you. The shadow is like a suppressed memory. It doesn't disappear. It lingers in your unconscious, influencing your thoughts, behaviors, and even your relationships without you realizing it. For example, if you were discouraged from expressing confidence as a child, you might resent people who seem self-assured because their confidence reminds you of what you've lost. Or if you were taught that success comes with selfishness, you might unconsciously sabotage your own achievements to avoid being seen as greedy. The shadow doesn't just shape your past, it controls your present. But here's the good news. You can reclaim it. Shadow work is not about fighting your darkness, it's about bringing it into the light. And once you do, you don't just heal, you transform. The scariest part of the shadow? It doesn't just sit there quietly. It manipulates your emotions, your relationships, your success, and you don't even realize it. Here's how. It makes you project onto others. The parts of yourself you refuse to acknowledge, you'll see them in other people and judge them harshly. You hate their arrogance, but deep down it's because you're suppressing your own confidence. It fuels self-sabotage. Have you ever had an amazing opportunity, but something inside you just made you mess it up? That's the shadow, keeping you from stepping into your full power. It controls your relationships. The shadow makes you attract people who mirror your deepest wounds. You might unconsciously be drawn to partners who treat you exactly how you treat your hidden self. It distorts your self-image. You may believe that you're unworthy of love, success, or happiness, not because it's true, but because a part of you absorbed this message in childhood. The shadow ensures you unconsciously live out these false beliefs, keeping you stuck. It creates irrational fears and anxieties. Ever wonder why certain situations make you unreasonably nervous? The shadow often harbors past traumas or unprocessed emotions, which manifest as unexplained anxiety or resistance to new experiences. It influences your career and financial decisions. Have you ever found yourself avoiding leadership roles, fearing you're not good enough? Or hesitating to ask for a raise because you feel undeserving? These limitations aren't real. They're the voice of your shadow, keeping you small. It dictates how you handle conflict. If you were taught to suppress anger, you may either avoid confrontation at all costs or explode uncontrollably when your emotions can no longer be contained. Your shadow determines how you respond to emotional triggers. It manifests as physical symptoms. Suppressed emotions don't just disappear, they get stored in the body. Chronic stress, tension, headaches, and even illness can be physical expressions of a shadow left unchecked. This is why shadow work is so important. Until you bring the shadow into the light, it will keep running your life in the dark. How to embrace your shadow and transform your life. Step 1. Notice your triggers. Pay attention to the people who trigger you the most. Ask yourself, what is it about them that irritates me? Then ask the hard question, could this be a part of me that I've rejected? Instead of judging, get curious. What if this person is a mirror, showing you a part of yourself that needs healing? Step 2. Observe your patterns. Do you keep attracting the same type of toxic relationships? Do you always sabotage your success right before you reach a breakthrough? Are you constantly battling the same insecurities? Your patterns aren't random. They are road signs, pointing directly to the shadow. Step 3. Give your shadow a voice. Jung often encouraged people to write to their shadow. Try this. Sit down and write a letter from the part of you that you've been ignoring. Let it speak. What does it need? What is it trying to protect you from? Step 4. Integration. Reclaim your power. Embracing your shadow doesn't mean letting it take over. It means accepting it as a part of you. The anger, the fear, the desire, it's all energy. And energy, when harnessed, can be turned into strength, passion, and purpose. This is where transformation happens. When you stop rejecting parts of yourself and start embracing them, you become whole. Jung said it best. One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. We spend so much of our lives trying to be only good, only kind, only perfect, as if removing our darkness will make us whole. But true wholeness doesn't come from denying the shadow. It comes from integrating it. Think of the greatest figures in history. Artists, visionaries, revolutionaries. They didn't hide from their darkness. They embraced it. They channeled their rage into movements, their pain into art, their fears into wisdom. Martin Luther King Jr. channeled his anger at injustice into a movement that transformed the world. Frida Kahlo turned her suffering into powerful art that still speaks to millions. Carl Jung himself faced his own darkness, his own shadow, and used it to revolutionize psychology. And what about you? What if the very part of yourself you've been avoiding holds the key to your greatest potential? Imagine for a moment. What if the confidence you criticize in others is the very confidence you need to step into your purpose? What if the ambition you suppress is what will finally get you where you're meant to be? What if the emotions you hide, anger, sadness, grief, are the raw energy that could drive your greatest breakthroughs? You do not grow by running from your shadow. You grow by turning around and facing it. Facing your shadow is not easy. It requires courage, self-honesty, and a willingness to see yourself fully. But once you do, you unlock a power you never knew you had. You stop being trapped by your past and start creating your future. You become someone who is truly free. So now I ask you, are you ready to stop running? Are you ready to embrace the part of yourself that holds your deepest power? If this video resonated with you, let me know in the comments. What part of your shadow are you ready to reclaim? And if you're ready for the next step, be sure to check out my upcoming videos on individuation, Jungian archetypes, and the collective unconscious, because we are just getting started. Thank you for watching. Until next time, keep exploring, keep growing, and step boldly into who you were always meant to be.